Morning. Change all these people to panelists.
To the right into exit 10.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
everybody.
Hello.
Sorry for the late start. Marie had
Okay.
to go out of town. She had for a funeral, and I had a little technical difficulty. So she's in the car trying to help me log on. Marie, if you can hear me, we're good, I think. Am I a co-host?
Okay.
We're okay. We're good.
Okay. I gotta make you a co-host right now, okay?
Yep.
Let's see. Don't have my glasses on, so it's kind of hard. Hold on.
Go straight on for 4 minutes to exit 18. State Route 120, Lebanon, Hanover.
Okay, I think I'm good, Marie. It says I'm the host.
Yep, okay. All right. I'm gonna
Okay,
leave.
thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Thanks,
bye.
Marie.
Yep, bye.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It is 6:02 on Monday, April 3rd. We'll call the select board meeting to
I'm afraid if I go
order.
off, it's just cancel the meeting, so I don't want to go all the way off. But
Okay.
Okay, all right, everybody. So present on Zoom are select board members, Andy Kraus, myself, Kathleen Kersey. Andy Potter had another engagement that he had to go to. We have various speakers and guests. So without further ado, we'll start the meeting. First thing is to approve the minutes from March 23rd, and those are the revised minutes. Andy Kraus, you got those?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
and do I have a motion to?
I'd like to pass a motion for the
I'll-
minutes that were submitted to be passed.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Roll call vote, Andy Kraus,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. The minutes have been approved. Citizen speak time is next up. Anyone want to raise their hand? Kurt?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, so no video, just got my voice. So I just want to touch on this quickly for the board. Kurt Wilton, resident of 24 Moscow Road. And I'd like to speak of a situation we had with some overflow parking of an event we had at the Turn Park Saturday. But if that's going to be discussed during the police report, I can waive that and then we can talk about it when we get into the report. It's up to you folks.
I think Mark probably has something to say, Kurt, so why don't we just take it when we talk to Mark?
Perfect, thank you.
Is that okay?
that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Bob Salerno. Okay, Bob, you have permission to speak?
Yep, I just want to make a clarification on the note on the minutes that when I talked about the pile of stones, it's actually the millstone. So it has a little more importance than a pile of stones from the Shaker Mill. So just, I don't know if you want to revise the minutes or just add to it for this, that
Okay,
the stone we want to make sure that the town retains possession of is the millstone from the Shaker Mill.
okay. I think that was the last meetings.
Yeah, I'm not sure when it was.
Yeah, they're not the ones that we're talking about now, Bob, but I think we can go in and adjust that, and we may have to vote again. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
we'll do it.
Okay,
Okay. thank
whatever.
you. All right.
I don't think it has to be adjusted. I just think it has to be corrected because I remember Bob bringing it up at the select board meeting and he did say the millstone. So it just, the minutes have to be corrected and reflected of that. So,
Okay.
Right.
All right. Sorry, guys. Got too much open on my desk. Just give me a minute. Yeah, okay, now I close them. Okay, apologies for that. Anyone else for citizen speak time? I guess not. Next up then is the Vision Committee. Joe, you have a new appointment to make?
Yeah, we, at our last meeting, our board, our committee decided that we would love to have Champika Fernando as our next member. I always present new members to your board for appointment by your board. If you would be so kind, I sent you information about her. If you got it, that'd be great. And
Yep.
I would request respectfully that you appoint her to the Vision Committee, please.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Champika Fernando to the Vision Committee.
I'll second. Roll call vote. Andy Kraus.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Appointment is made, Joe. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. And thank you to Champika for joining.
Yes, looking forward to her input. Thank you.
So next up on the agenda is the farmers market. And I think we have people here who are interested in that. And I'm sorry to say that we are going to table discussion of that for the moment. It'll be on the agenda our next meeting, which is 2 weeks from tonight. So Terry, I'm sorry, I assume that's why you're here. And Lily, I think you got the message, and anyone else who didn't get the message that we were not going to be discussing that, apologies for taking up your time. But next week. Okay, thanks, Terry. Parks and Rec, an update from Kate.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Kate.
Hey. So I put together a little update for you guys. I typed it up so I wouldn't leave anything out. So I'm just going to read that to you. And then if you have any questions, let me know and I'll try to answer those.
Great.
So Parks and Rec has a busy time ahead, as April tends to be the beginning of our most active time of year. Facing us most immediately are the tasks of cleaning up and organizing from the winter, including pulling in lights that have simply been unplugged, taking stock of items that we used for sparkles, and keeping track of things that we'll need for 2023, and also putting in order our storage area at the town hall. We're also tackling anew the yearly challenge of Canada geese at Card Pond. Thanks to Kurt and his fantastic crew, a snow fence has been out all winter, prepared to block all places of entry to the geese that are outside of the split rail fence that was installed last year. Additionally, also thanks to the DPW, the Goose Light Deterrent System and Bitter Grape Anti-Goose Grass Spray are also ready to go and will be out any day now, if not already. That's weather dependent on both of those. We're also working on the Memorial Day program, which may face a bit of a makeover, either this year or next. West Stockbridge knows and loves the Memorial Day parade and ceremony, but it has become increasingly evident that it's out of touch with the needs and wishes of our local veterans, some of whom are no longer able to participate for health reasons, and some of whom have no interest in marching or standing publicly, ultimately leaving us with a severely diminished one veteran in our parade and a handful at the ceremony. I've met with members of the VFW and put in calls with the American Legion, and we will work together to create a program that is appropriately meaningful, respectful, and cognizant of the true purpose of Memorial Day. We look forward to opening Card Pond with a community gathering in late June. and luckily have already had a local high school student apply to be our lifeguard. We are hopeful that this will work out as well as last year's lifeguard did. We plan to run the same lifeguard schedule as last year, Thursday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. through the end of August. This means that the beach will be raked, umbrellas out, and open swim safety gear available during the busiest times of the week. The tennis court, after last year's much needed total renovation, is another fun town location that we're excited to have ready to go for the full span of tennis season. It wasn't until the court was in dire need of repair that we learned just how loved and used it truly is. Summer is also going to bring Zucchini Fest, as we all know, which Parks and Rec is excited to help with in some capacity. At the moment, we're planning to sponsor and do prep work for the Zuck races. After the close of Card Pond, we are excited to shift our attention to the beautiful playground that we had installed behind the town hall in 2020. It came to our attention thanks to surveys conducted by the Vision Committee that some of our community members haven't realized or seen the total makeover to the playground area. So in September, we plan to hold a playground ice cream party, and we hope that our neighbors will all come to see the beautiful work that was imagined by Jenna and Roland Dudney. Fall will also bring the town Halloween festivities, which change a little bit every year, but we know that they'll involve trick-or-treating and a fun party in the town hall gym. Finally, we will once again look to host West Stockbridge Sparkles, though we have had some lengthy discussions and are planning to give Sparkles a bit of a facelift in 2023. Details won't be available until closer to December, but we feel confident that it will better meet the needs of our community. Aside from these things, we also have a number of projects simmering in the background. This includes a dog park. We still need more people interested in a dog park committee. That's going to be in the local yokel next month. Possibly a gazebo or a small pavilion. Exact location to be determined. And of course, an Easter egg hunt for 2024, which has been asked for many, many times. So that is what we have going on right now. And do I have any questions or anything about that?
Hey, great job. Wow, fantastic.
Yay.
Maybe you could be our PR piece for,
He's
please.
good at that.
Yes.
Well, I think we're hoping that if we have enough fun, good news things going on in West Stockbridge, that maybe we'll catch the eye in a good way of our local towns. So
Yeah, I have
definitely.
just a couple of quick questions, positive.
Sure.
In reference to the vets, was there any
Mhm.
discussion about having them on a float?
So I haven't specifically discussed a float, but we have offered vintage cars, for example.
Great.
Yep, and other options. I think that there's also a difficulty of the demand of so many parades and a very shrinking amount of veterans. You know, if we go back 20 years, we had the veterans marching in this parade, you know, for us, for Housatonic, for Great Barrington, for Stockbridge, you know, and they did all of them. And they did one after another, similar
Right.
to the band.
Right.
And unfortunately, even on a float, it's a lot for them. And because they also were observing the day themselves, for example, in our town, they are in front of the War Memorial at 9 a.m., at least historically, the past couple of years, to do their own private ceremony. And then doing another town one after that adds a lot on top of their plates.
I think the vintage cars is an excellent idea if you can get participation. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, we love the vintage car idea too. But I think what it really comes down to is what the veterans want. And we're trying to really focus on that. Because obviously I know I have enjoyed being a part of the Memorial Day ceremony for, this will be my 24th year. But which is great, but I also recognize that I want to do what is the most meaningful to them.
Got it.
That's great.
One other question.
Yeah.
You had mentioned the Zucchini Festival.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a liaison in reference to the Vision Committee. And this was brought up as far as the Zucchini Festival was concerned. And I had suggested, and it was discussed, and Joe Roy has it in his back pocket, that they should submit a timeline which would give structure to the Zucchini Festival, and each part of that timeline has got to be met to make sense of it. I mean, you don't want to get to a point, well, who checked on the fireworks, and all of a sudden you get to, May 15th and there's no answer. So
Yeah.
I leave that between you and Joe, and if you want to speak or discuss, please do so.
Well, for Parks and Rec, I can say we aren't managing the timing or anything for any of the events. We are at present, unless things change, we are sponsoring and purchasing the Zucks for the Zuck races, the prizes for the Zuck races, and other tasks such as perhaps labeling 150 ducks.
They need numbers. They need numbers.
They need numbers, yes. So at present, unless that changes, most of our work is prep work in the weeks leading, and months, I suppose, but leading up to Zucchini Fest. But of
Okay.
course, I think that a nice strict timeline of events would benefit everyone.
Yeah,
If I could add to that a little bit, I'm in touch with Marge Powell. And things have been a little bit in a lull because she's reaching out to a lot of people and waiting for a lot of people to get back to her. But I do know that there's a pending meeting coming up soon, but I don't have a date certain yet. At least I don't know about it. But when we have it, I will be there, and I will definitely forward your suggestion, Andy, because it's a good one.
thank you.
Great. Any other?
I have a
Questions?
question about the geese.
Yeah, absolutely. The geese are public enemy number one on Garden Pond every year.
They really are. So there was one thing you mentioned that I hadn't heard of. I
Yeah.
saw the fencing that went up, but you said something about a treatment for the grass or something?
Yeah, yep. So we have a couple of other, we have tried just about everything in the book
Yeah.
when it comes to goose deterrence, but the bitter grape is it's a spray, and it's fine for the grass. It's organic. It's it's all good in terms of that, but it makes the grass taste gross to the
Ah.
geese. And so, but we don't see it. It's colorless, it's odorless, it's, all of that. And, if it rains, it does get washed away. So it's kind of a bit of a continually reapply situation. But the bitter grape grass spray is one. And then the other one I mentioned is the Goose Light deterrent system. We've had that for a few years now. They're lights that are placed throughout, they're floating, or, perhaps just on the edge in various strategic places around the pond. And it's a light that is pretty much invisible to the human eye, but which bothers the geese. And it makes it so that they can't get adequate rest. Not in a dangerous way, not in a, oh my gosh, all of the geese are sleep deprived, but in a way that if the geese land there, they're going to look around and go, wow, this is not a great place for a nest. And so the whole idea of that is to put that system in place before they decide to nest so that they move on to another place.
What, can I add a little bit about Card Pond? Having lived next to it my whole life. One of the things we've discussed in the past is finding a grant. We were successful at getting some things done there, thanks to Kathleen. But we're going to be, if we ever come up with I don't know what to call it, a pond walk around it, including something that goes well into the weeds where they nest, that would help deter them as well.
Definitely.
Just a plug for a pond walk.
Yeah. And Parks and Rec is definitely pro pond walk. That's a great way to get people out into our open spaces.
Yep.
In West Stockbridge, which is great. We also, I will say, the lifeguard has also been a really great goose deterrent, coming every, on a regular schedule, raking, being present. The geese are not interested in hanging around with the lifeguard. So that has also been great.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay, Bob, you have a question for Kate?
No, I just, actually, maybe Kurt, didn't the swans keep the geese away too?
Yeah, they actually did for a little while. And
Pick
then
your
they kinda-
poison.
Really?
So-
Are they not much better, Joe?
Yeah, we'll be putting the plastic swans out there. The real ones were doing really well because they actually attacked. So we
Yeah.
had some physical altercations there. But yeah, Kate's right. Especially the goose lights. You put the lights out there, it's kind of like it's not as romantic. It's kind of like sitting in the back row of a drive-in with someone has headlights on you. So they tend to move on, find another safer haven where they can do their breeding and do their nesting. But we're trying all kinds of ways, and things are really helping. I think this year with the fence, just by the fence alone, will really keep them away. People say, well, geese can fly, but the idea behind the fence is it's for when they do have goslings and they hatch, the water is their safe haven. So they would float up to the water's edge and they'd bring their babies up on shore and eat the grass. So with the fence there, they can't get through there to eat the grass. So we're trying to make it a little less safe for them. So they move on. So we keep trying. We just keep trying until we figure it out.
Yeah, good,
The
great.
yearly
job, Kate, on it.
challenge.
Okay, thanks. That was comprehensive update. Appreciate it. Good luck
Anytime.
with the upcoming programming, particularly for Memorial Day. It's here sooner than later.
Yeah.
It is. Yes. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much.
Yep. Take care, you guys.
You too. Next up is Mark, Chief Portieri. Going to give us an update.
Good evening.
Hey, Mark.
First off, Lucas Horn, one of our full-time officers, is going to be an instructor at the academy. He's been being an instructor for a while. They offered him a full-time job. At his age and, the years he's got left him, it's a good move for him, pay-wise and stuff like that. So now we'll have 2 open spots if the one is approved at the town meeting. We've already put out the open position. It's been out for 2 weeks. It was listed in the Berkshire Eagle IM and then on our IMC, which every police department has when they open it up. They see there's a job opening. We've only got 2 applications so far. It's been out about 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. Both applications were from within the department, or 2 part-time / full-time guys that are bridging now. They both applied. That's all we have so far. We're gonna try to do something like, we're gonna let it run to the end of the month, probably the next select board meeting. And maybe we can appoint one, or if not, both of them to fill our spots. There are actually at least one of them for now, and then we'll have to wait till after the town meeting to make sure the other one's approved. Everybody that has to bridge is already enrolled right now, and they've already started their bridge ahead of the July 1st deadline. So everybody's on pace for that. The last storm we had, I just want to thank Kurt and, everybody on the select board. We did a pretty good job. Well, actually, the last 2 storms, we've all worked together really well, and everything worked out good. Then we have the Turnpike situation, which happened Saturday. I got a phone call from my one officer that was on, said there's 30 to 40 cars parked on both sides in no parking. The police department had no clue that they were having any kind of an event down there. It kind of goes back to when they started having events back there. We didn't know about them, and then, you know, as the event's going on, we're getting called there. So it's kind of, and then it turned into, they were letting us know what was going on. And now it kind of went back to supposedly this was a soft opening. He was only going to have 20, 25 people. So, you know, with 30 to 40 cars, you're talking 80 people. You know, Kurt showed me a video today. I wasn't there. I was home, and my officer was there, basically talked to Jarrett and told him he had 30 minutes to get the place, get all the cars moved. Else he was going to start towing them. So then I reached out to Jarrett and I asked him, you know, what's going on? He goes, oh, it's just a soft opening. We weren't supposed to have this many people, which every event that they have down there, they're only going to have
Yeah,
50 people, and it turns out to be 200.
right.
The end of the year celebration they had down there, he tried telling me, oh, you know, maybe 100, 150 people. And we did have officers down there working it. And it turned out it was the same day as Stockbridge had an event going at the Botanical Garden. That one ended at 4, his started at 4. And by the time the night ended, I bet you there was between 600 and 700 people that ended up down there. Which is good, you know, nothing wrong with that, but it was a good thing, you know, that we were down there. So I basically told Jared today, or Saturday and today, that, you know, these events that he's having, he should really consider having a police officer there, because if I have one person on and they're stuck down there dealing with that, and, you know, with any other thing, Kurt sent a video around. I mean, if there was an emergency past the turn park,
Mhm.
it would have been hard pressed for us to get whatever we needed down there for emergency equipment. And another thing I talked to Jared about, I says, you have to understand, I says, when you have these events that you're having, it's bringing more people into the town. And with our staffing, even with having 2 cops on, which, you know, future plan is we're gonna have 2 cops on most of the time. I said, you're bringing 100 people into town. If something happens, that's 2 versus 100.
Mhm.
And not that we've had any problems there, but you can never rule that out. And then especially, you know, we're April 1st and we're running into this situation. And, you know, we're not even into the, you know, summer traffic, nice weather, where you already have the influence, you know, the inflection of people in town just out for a ride. So I talked to him on Saturday, myself, Kurt, and Frankie Alfonso met with him today. And, you know, Kurt, you can, you know, let you guys know, you know, he can put his insight in this. You know, we talked about parking and stuff like that today. And it's just, it seems like they just throw these events out there and, you know, we'll let it go. And with the situations we have going on down there now, him just having these events and not looking forward to, okay, maybe I should have a police officer down here for the 4 hours or 6 hours, whatever it is, to be able to tell these people that you can park here, you can't park there. It's just, it would cause, it would help so much more than the end result of just saying, oh yeah, well, we're gonna have an event today and 100 cars show up. Then we're back in the same boat as we were. It just seems like it's going full circle. When
So
they
Mark,
opened, now, they didn't really tell us anything. And then when we got on them, they made a few adjustments, and now it's just like, all right, we'll just have a soft opening, and only 20 people are gonna show up. And like I said, there was 30 to 40 cars, so you're talking 80 people. I mean, Kurt, I think, counted them on the video he made. And it's just,
so Mark,
it's just, my recommendation to Jarrett was, if you're having an event, you gotta have somebody down here, whether it's one police officer or two. Because it's gonna turn around and bite us here eventually.
so you guys met today, Mark? You and Frank
yeah,
met
my-
with Jared?
Yeah, Kurt, you can throw some insight on that if you want, Kurt.
Yeah, I'd love to. So, yeah, this is my wait for my time. So I showed, I made a video. So what happened here Saturday was the perfect storm of what you do not want to happen. This very first event of the year. And then it just kind of all went awry there. So this is not an attack, it's an observation. So I want the board to fully understand, whether it's this board, I've been around for past boards and I vented through it. Jared fully understands it, but it's for all the venues that are down in this area. Every time, we talk about the Foundry, I'm there talking about overflow parking. There's plenty of overflow parking. There's multi parking spots on Main Street, the side streets. There's multi spots down at the wastewater plant, which is further down south of the Foundry itself. I'm sorry, Turnpike. And there's also the new parking lot that we maintain for this reason, overflow parking, which is in the Michis. So what happened, and I like to see and to observe that anytime someone comes forward with big events, overflow events, we're not here to stop them. I would like to see one of the first questions that the permitting authority would ask is, just show me the parking plan, show me how you're going to control the parking and who's going to tell people where to go. Because this is probably the sixth time I've been through, certain boards. Kathleen, you've heard me for years on this, and Andy, you're new at it, but I'm always going to complain as a resident of Moscow Road, stay off a no parking area. We're human beings. We're all like cattle. See, if one parks, the other one's going to park. And if there's no one down there, a human being to tell us, or signs are very, very important. And this doesn't happen all the time. This was, again, the perfect storm. Jared turned his back. There's 80 people. And by then the cars were everywhere, so we did have a meeting. It was a good civilized meeting today. Everybody understood. I brought Chief Portieri down to show our concerns. I brought Frankie Alfonso. Frankie maintains the grounds and the properties of West Stockbridge. So he actually maintains and manicures the lawns that these cars are parking on. So basically, I'm just here again as a resident for the record to show my evidence. And Jared got a shot at the video. I sent it to him. And I just want to have that known and locked in record. So if it happens 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, but I'll continue to bring it up every time there's a special permit application in front of the board. You're going to see Kurt Wilton there wanting to see what type of parking scheme, what type of parking control. And again, there's plenty of parking. You just have to utilize it. You have to be professional enough to show us how we're going to do it. I know the Foundry has talked of giving, parking cards out, and even puts them on the website where you're going to park. And that works too. But, the April Fool's joke, I'll call it, it's completely backfired. The very first one, it did not look good for future events if it happens to be this way. So it's a work in progress. We had 1 or 2 last year that were great. So let's keep them all great. Let's keep everybody happy, and all the neighbors can get in, can get out. But I just want to make sure that we all know this, so you're aware that the next venue that comes in for the permit for a larger event than they normally have, show me the parking scheme, how you can control the people, how you going to let the people know where to park. It only takes that one car. And next thing you know, there's 15 of them follow leaders, and then they disappear into the crowd. You can't get them.
Kathleen, can I speak in a sec when Kurt's done?
Yeah, I think that was it, but that's really why I'm here. I'm not attacking anybody, just I want to show an observation. Everybody got the video. Lock it in your archives, whatever, but 3 years from now, I'll bring that video back out and have to show them if it continues. Just do your diligence and make sure that parking is always thought of, controlled, and everybody's going to get along just fine. But again, there's plenty of parking. I mean, everywhere you want to go, there's over 100 spots between all the parking lots and Main Street and side streets. It's just that stay off the public way of known as Moscow Road. There are signs there too, and we can't control the people, but just make sure that we're doing our diligence. Every venue organization is doing their best, if not, working hard 100% at trying to keep the people in a legal parking area, parking lot, parking stall. And there's aren't streets. So yeah, that's my event. I just want to make sure I'm in the minutes.
Okay,
And I'm
thank you,
recording.
Kurt. Thank you. And Jared, I see that you have your hand up, but Andy wanted to say something first, so we'll get to you in a minute.
You want me to speak or you want?
No, go ahead.
Okay. There are certain things that can be done and should be done, working within our limitations. This is not the first time this has happened at Turn Park. So therefore, my proposal would be when Turn Park or somebody comes to us for a permit, that they would need to, number one, be acceptable for paying for detail, i.e. the police department, if Mark is staffed up enough and he can, or we can go to auxiliary such as Kurt's people and pay them, the Department of Highway, because they know where parking is. So we fully utilize the staff so we don't have this problem. It also appears that there is absolutely, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, no contingency vis-a-vis Turn Park for these episodes to happen. It happens. I want to talk away from it. They have no control over how many people are coming. They don't have RSVPs. So therefore, there's no contingency. What has to be, and this might have to be mandated, is that there's certain detail. And Jared's place cannot supply the people, because the people that he might supply might let these people park anywhere. The other thing is, I would also mandate that Jared or Turn Park supply signs for no parking, i.e. Police Department of West Stockbridge. Those are a couple of ideas, but it appears that there is no contingency plan. Now, granted, these events are well attended, but this is not the first time this has happened, and you can't come with hat in hand and say, oh, gee, I didn't know this many people were going to appear. Well, they did, and this becomes problematic. You want to make sure that you have good crowd control, parking. As Mark pointed out, there are dangers built into this situation. You want to stay away from that. So if Turn Park is amenable to paying for their own signs, having these signs posted vis-a-vis the police department, accepting the fact that they might have to pay for detail of the police department and or also of the highway department, that might be in a step in the right direction. But there has got to be contingency plan.
Andy, we've heard now from Mark and from Kurt and now from you the same thing. Jared's had his hand up. I think it's fair to give him an opportunity to respond. We understand that there was an issue. Hi, Jared.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you everybody for your concern, and Chief and Kurt, thank you for your meeting today. It was really good. So just a couple things. I am never flippant about the amount of people, or like Chief said, like, oh, just a few people, I don't have to worry about it. That's never my mindset. Plain and simple, I screwed up yesterday. We have signs. We're going to get more signs after talking with Kurt and Chief today. But yeah, we have signs, and in the past, these signs have worked. The event chief was talking about in the fall where we had like 600 to 800 people, way more than we expected. We'd never done an event like that, but there were 0 parking problems. The signs worked, the detail worked, everything was great. And so, yes, we have signs. We're getting more signs made. We talked about some like ribbons to make sure people aren't parking on grass areas near the water treatment plant. So those things are all happening. And as far as like details, I'd say the majority, if not all of the liquor permits I'm coming to you with this year will need a police detail. Pretty much anytime we're like selling alcohol, we're going to do that. Especially for these big events. And the smaller ones are, you know, there is an RSVP system. People buy tickets for a lot of our events. So we do know how many people are coming, you know, towards the end of the time, you know, when the event's happening. And so, you know, a lot of the events, we know that there's only going to be 50 or 80 people. And those are things we can totally handle without any help. But once it starts getting above that, that's when we're going to definitely have a detail. Yeah, I think I addressed everything. I just, you know, I've apologized to Kurt. You know, I understand it was only for an hour, but at the same time, if there's an emergency and with Kurt's house or someone else, like emergency vehicles need to go down there, and I take that very seriously. So yeah, plain and simple, I screwed up yesterday. This is not the norm. Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say.
Thank you, Jared. So Kurt and Mark, it sounds like you did have a good meeting with Jared. Everyone's in agreement. Jared sounds like he's in agreement that details necessary when there is a bigger crowd. Is everyone satisfied with that outcome?
Yep, I am. We did have a great meeting. It was civilized, and
Good.
so just to the board's attention, I'm going to be back at every one of these permits, and my first question is going to be, let's see the parking plan.
Gotcha.
Just warming you up to it.
All righty. Okay, Mark, regarding the rest of your update, we have your analysis report. Can you give me some sense of how that differs from last month, how your numbers have changed?
Well, we've had a couple more arrests from last month. We've had another, you know, a couple more accidents, stuff like that. That's pretty much, other than, you know, total stats from year to now. That's about the only thing that's really missing. We have some court trials going right now. A couple of the officers have trials coming up from stuff that they've done since the first of the year. So it's just, you know, getting everything ready for court and stuff like that. So.
Okay, and you're still keeping an eye out that your traffic calming and
Yep.
and speeders through town, which is our big.
Yeah, which has been pretty good lately. But spring is coming. Our radar trailers going out, and we haven't nearly since a year ago. We haven't had nearly the speeding complaints that we've had from a year ago. Like I said, the changing of people and people actually going out and making sure they're seen in town is making a big difference.
Yeah.
But the speeding season's coming. But with the new signs we have that Kurt's put up and our radar trailers going out, so hopefully it stays on the positive side of that.
Great. And then we're sorry to see Lucas go, of course. So what does that leave the composition of your department, Mark?
He started this instructor job. His last day was April 1st. So that basically, it knocks us down one, but with the other two people that we have, Nate and Matt, they've been filling in the gaps. So, we're basically about the same, as we were with Lucas here, but now we have Nat and Matt taking up some more And a couple of our full-time guys have stepped up and taken an extra shift here and there, so we have coverage, so.
So will that, what, if you said these guys are bridging now, will that mean the whole department would have gone through the Bridge Academy?
Yeah, everybody, this is the last bridge class. And if you don't get in this one, then you're never getting in one, so.
So
And
they
I
moved
don't-
fast once they started them, because I remember there was a really big lag for a while.
Well, they used the first class, they made wait till July 1st before they could do anything, but as soon as you register now, they let you do the online classes and the prerequisite classes, they let you do them. So when everything opens in July 1st, the firearms, motor vehicle, and defensive tactics and use of force, then as soon as they open in July 1st, these guys can get right on them. Instead of, waiting and hoping to get a driving class before they stop doing them in October.
So
Mm.
I'm not sure that, so this is the last bridge class. Does that mean that? I think the last time we really talked about this in depth, it was a little bit unsure about what the training requirements were going to be. Does that mean that after bridge is done, people have to go back to full-time academy?
Yeah, even if you wanted to be an officer, take somebody like that's older, if they just wanted to get on and do a couple shifts a month, they'd have to go to the full-time academy, a 23-week academy.
Right, right. Okay.
So
And
basically now this last class makes everybody that's part-time now, makes everybody full-time the same as I am, same as Mike is and Kurt is. So,
and we didn't, just thinking ahead, we didn't budget for any academy time for next year, right? So we're hoping
yes,
that.
yeah, we did. It's in the new budget. What we're gonna do now is the time that they're doing, because some of these classes, like Mike just did a 6-hour class that he had to take before he can even apply for a driving class. It was 6-hour prerequisite class. He did that at home. He said there's no way you could have did it trying to work and trying to do it. Because he said, as soon as you wait, you miss a section for 2 minutes, it throws you out. And you gotta start all over, so. It's not hard, but it's time consuming. And that's just the way they're weeding out some of these people in the state of Massachusetts that don't really want to be a cop. And if they can't take the time and put in the effort to do, some of this stuff, like I said, you get, if you wait 2 minutes before you click yes, then they throw you right out of the class, so.
Hmm.
But once they get these prerequisites done, then it's just getting a driving class, getting a firearms class, and I don't see them having any issues with it. I mean, what we have are all good guys, so. Some of our questionable ones have gone elsewhere, so.
All right. Andy, anything for Mark?
I have two quick questions.
Yeah.
Mark, any dramatic change in anything other than what you just went over? I mean,
No,
no,
everything is, going the way it should, hopefully on my end, so.
okay. And the other quick question I have, the bus stop infractions that you know of, have they improved? Is it good, better, or no changes?
My guys, if they don't have anything going on, but most of the time there's 2 of us on, so they do follow the buses, and
Right.
we haven't got any complaints
Good,
that I know about,
okay,
so.
thank you.
That's going well too. And we did have some new people that moved in Great Barrington Road, almost down towards Williamsville. They live up on a hill and their driveway's on a corner.
Mhm.
She reached out to us and, we worked together, and she's down there with the bus. So, and then we haven't had any incidents there. They moved in, I think, in November,
Okay,
and it's been good. So we keep our eye on it. So,
great, thank you.
yeah.
Bob Salerno has his hand up again. again, Bob.
Sorry. Hey, Mark.
I didn't mean it to come out like that.
No, that's all right. When Kathleen asked you about the budget, so the 28, if I understand it right, the 28K for the Bridge Academy is still good, right?
Yeah,
Okay, and
Yep.
then the additional 10K we got for training time is still good, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to make
So
sure,
that-
I want to make sure I heard you right.
Yeah, so that's basically whatever, we have to do to the new budget. Like I said, it's just these prerequisite classes that they have to do.
Yep,
We should be good.
okay,
Yeah,
Thank
if it gets down to, it's gonna be questionable, then I'll reach out to you guys and let you know where we're at. But I think we with that training money and the other stuff, we can move some stuff around if need be. So we should be good.
good, okay.
And Mark,
Thanks.
28,000, that's just one officer?
That's all for 7,000 a person we figured out.
Okay. All
Me and
right. I'm
Roger.
sorry,
we
I-
did- Yeah, when Roger was here, we did it, very in-depth look at it and, with ammunition and stuff that we needed to
Right.
provide for him. That's what we came up with, so. You know how Roger is with numbers. So it was very in-depth.
I remember that conversation.
Mm.
Okay, all right. So, unless anyone has. Mark,
I just had one
else you
more
wanna add?
thing. I just had one more thing, just that popped up was on my contract reopening. Was that a 3-0 vote or a 2-1 vote? To not reopen it, or wasn't there a vote
It
on
was
it?
executive session, Mark. We don't really talk about what happens in executive session.
Okay,
I do have something to share with you about that one sentence that you were questioning me about.
mm-hmm,
I did get an opinion from town council, so I'll talk to you about that offline.
okay. Other than that, I'm good if anybody else got any more questions.
Not I. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Annie.
Andy, anything for select board speak?
I'm good.
Okay, I've got a couple little things just to add to what Mark said. If we missed saying, offering our appreciation to
Yes.
Kurt's team and Mark's team and
Yes.
Steve's team last time, adding to what Mark said, they really were out straight for a few days and they did a really tremendous job getting everyone back in power and keeping the roads safe. I think it was a pretty exhausting few days, so
Yes,
thank you all.
I agree.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that after kind of months of talking about it and back and forth and changing schedules, Bob Salerno and I met with Smitty Pignatelli last week, just to review. He kind of likes to get a little overview, it seems, of what's going on in each of the individual towns when he has time to get a meeting scheduled. So we talked to him. We had a really productive, hour and a half meeting with him, and we covered a lot of subjects, including housing and overall, he gave us some ideas around fundraising and really talked a lot about the fact that there are, for various different types of projects, there are funds available. To paraphrase him, he said, we're not going to come looking for you. To give it to you, though, you need to ask for it. So, but he was really encouraging. We told him that there was a lot of interest in a lot of progression potentially in town, housing being one thing that people were talking about. We talked about sharing services with other towns and generically how that's happening with various different towns. Some towns are sharing administrators, some towns are sharing select boards, some towns are sharing chiefs. And, it's nothing that's imminent, certainly for us at this moment in time, but we just did talk, kind of wanted to get our finger on the pulse of what was going on with that. I know Bob I had to leave early, but Bob talked to him about some stuff about the old town hall. There is Mara Healy has I forget what the name of the position is that's going to be opening, a representative to rural districts, us being one of those. That position hasn't been filled. The job description hasn't been done, but it was kind of good news. I think it was in the paper, but then Smitty, reaffirmed the fact that we will have some more direct representation from the governor in our very own neighborhoods. So that's something that, has been a chronic complaint for many years. So he felt good about that. Again, not imminent.
Is Kurt still on here?
I don't know, he's not.
Oh, because one of the interesting things is Smitty is pushing to increase the chapter 90 funds, the highway funds, to include dirt roads.
Yeah.
Which is about 25% of our roads. We don't get reimbursed for it. We get no money for it. And of course, Boston doesn't have dirt roads, but the rural towns do. And that was one of the things that Smitty is pushing for.
Mhm.
It's a big deal for us. I mean, it's 150,000, 162 this year, but should be more than 200, because that's really where we spend our money, is on the dirt roads. So I don't know about Miller Lane. I think we're going to just abandon that and maybe turn it into a skateboard park or something.
And Bob, when I was leaving and you stayed on, I heard you mentioning Housatonic Water Company. We hadn't gotten to that by the time
Yeah.
I had to leave. Do you have anything to report in about that? You and I haven't had a chance to speak.
No, he's not sure how that's going to turn out. I guess Jim Mercer's father. I don't know. Joe, do you know the Mercers at all? But I guess the father really controls it and is kind of fighting a takeover. There's a company in Sheffield
Sheffield, yeah.
that took the Sheffield water supply. That might or might not happen. But our point to Smitty is we have 60 plus users
Right.
on that system, and the water it's black. I mean, it's not good. And he's, we want to be part of the solution. Since it's important. And my concern was, I don't want Great Barrington to do to us like they do with the school district and turn around and say, you got to pay a huge amount of money. And Smitty, and I said that to Smitty, I said, financially, it's not, we're only 60 out of whatever, but anyway, that was kind of where that went. He's well aware of it. He's been following it.
Yeah. All right, great. So those are my updates. Unless anyone has anything else, I would make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Okay, roll call vote. Andy?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Good night, guys.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye-bye.